Day. Unfortunately, my mother is no longer with us, and her funeral is very soon, this upcoming week. So please just have a moment of silence for her, just for a couple seconds. Okay, now that we're on that gloomy note, we'll continue the podcast that I do every Sunday. The reason why I'm doing it right now on Sunday is because my mother's no longer with us, like I said, and otherwise I'd be celebrating and giving her a call and all that stuff. Uh, I'm not gonna be dishonest. I didn't really visit too much, but I wanted to just give her a happy Mother's Day on my podcast, even though I know she's not here. But hopefully, wherever she is, she appreciates that. So yeah, let's get on with the podcast. Let's go into section 1. Okay, so section 1, we're going to talk about distractions and how to get out of those. Also, how they start in the first place and what you can do to avoid them. So basically, how distractions happen is you get bored, right? And you remember that you have cool stuff lying around or that you can do. So you pick that stuff up, you start getting engaged, or you start engaging with the content on whatever it is you're doing, like your phone, your Nintendo Switch, your console, or you're choosing your PC, whatever it is. You're going to be distracted for a while, right? Like an hour, maybe even longer than that, maybe the whole day. Sometimes the whole day slips away from you if you don't have anything else to do or you don't have anywhere else to go. You end up spending the entire time just wasted on this one particular thing. Some people have this thing called hyperfocus, and that's a whole different problem. So let's just say you're one of those people that don't get hyper focused, but you can still focus on your work for a long time, and you'll still get distracted even though you're not hyper focusing. Because maybe you're just having fun, maybe you're just in the moment and you just didn't realize that time is flying by because you're simply just doing tasks on a game, or you're finishing a project that doesn't really need your attention at the moment. Like, say you're building a shelf or something. It's intriguing to you. You want to finish it, but it's not vitally important to your living. Which, that is cool. That's craftsmanship and everything. But if you're supposed to be doing something else, then you could see how time can get away from you, and you can become distracted by other things around you if you're not organized. Okay, so what would cause you to not be organized in the first place? Because it is intentional, being organized, and not being organized is not so intentional, but it can get in the way if you don't do it. So what are some things you can do to be organized that's not boring and can keep you entertained even though you're doing something you don't want to do, or you're keeping yourself from being distracted with other things? So this depends on your job. My job is just to draw comics and then stream games if I feel like doing that. So my job does not require a lot of focus when it comes to games too much, but when it comes to comics, it needs my utmost attention. Utmost attention? Yeah. So if I get distracted by video games, let's say, it could very well happen since I'm very addicted to gaming in general. Say I want to play for an hour and I'm like, okay, I'll put the timer on and everything. I'm set to go. I'm not going to go over my limit. And all of a sudden, I've played for 8 hours and I ignored the timer. I turned it off or whatever. I just dismissed the alarm. Now, this is my problem, is that I didn't want to do it in the first place. So, being distracted comes from a place of not wanting to do something. So that has to be set in your mind. That's a fact. You don't have to do anything if you don't want to, but just know that you're not doing it because you actually just don't want to do it. And there were times where I thought I wanted to draw. I wanted to finish my comic, and that came from a place of achieving. Like I wanted to accomplish the goal. I just didn't want to do the work to get there. And that's a dangerous place to be if you don't want to get distracted. So it's better to distract yourself for as long as you need to get it out of your system. Just like I don't know, there's some health advice that it's like, oh, if you want to eat a chocolate cake or whatever, you know, don't push it back further and further. Just go eat a slice of chocolate cake. You'll feel better. You know, you might feel bad in the moment, but at least you got it out of the way. It's out of your system. You don't have to think about it anymore. So, same thing comes with your addiction, your distraction. Mine is gaming. So if I needed to do games for like 10 days, I would just put down my comics, go play games for 10 days, go get all my little achievements in game, waste my life for 10 days, and I would quit because I'd get tired, I'd get bored, my head would start hurting, you know. There's not a lot you can do if you just don't want to do the other thing and you want to be distracted for a while. So I know I said how to avoid distractions, and the best way to avoid it is to give yourself a little bit of that distraction, and see where you're at. Like how much do you want to play those games? How much do you want to do sports? How much do you want to go for that joyride outside around the block? Whatever you feel like distracting yourself with. How much gotcha games do you want to play? How much whatever. And then by the time you figure out like, okay, I've not played enough. I haven't done this thing enough that I really like doing. Then you're not done. Just keep doing it. But you know, if you're trying to come down from it and you know you have to do other things, then that advice is not for you, obviously. But if you want to get out of it, there's something in drawing called the one line rule. And if you've heard of it, fine, that's cool. But if you haven't, stay tuned and listen up because it's really interesting, actually. So the premise is you put down one line on the piece of paper to draw, and once you do that, your mind does this weird thing, and it's like it can't leave the paper alone because it knows that thing isn't finished, and it wants you to finish, and you want you to finish, and you're like, that's not just a line. I see a whole city, I see a whole person, I see a whole drawing in this line, and I have to get it out of my system, and that's where your brain goes, even though you're only drawing a line. The one line rule kind of gets your brain in motion, in gear, to do art or whatever. So if you're not doing art, because that's kind of an arty thing to think about, just make it the same rule but for a different job. So like if it's a musician, just play one note, and obviously you're not going to be satisfied with that. So you're going to say, no, this needs another note, this needs a different key, this needs a shape, a pattern, I need to do Phrygian scales, whatever it is. And if you're in a job that pays you but you're not necessarily in love with it, maybe set different kind of goals for you, like, oh, okay, I'm gonna stock all the things in the back today, but I'm gonna only stock this item. To be honest, I don't really know how that works because I haven't had too many decent kind of job or areas of work, so take it with a grain of salt. But yeah. because obviously you don't want to be there and it's not a job that you enjoy. So telling you to do something that you don't enjoy to enjoy it automatically is like not gonna work because you already don't enjoy it. So that's a different kind of job. I guess this is for people that want to make stuff for their own business, things like that. But I'm sure the rule could help you at work if you thought of something at work that actually brought you joy. There's not too many things, I'm gonna be honest. Dealing with customers and the cash register and all that, and giving out, dividing tips, stalking the back, and making your back hurt is not the best time in the world. But I don't know. If you find something, if you make a rule, let me know and see if it helped for those kind of jobs. But right now, I guess I'm just talking to the crowd that wants to start their own business and make a profit off of it and stuff like that. Or not even a profit, just a social media presence even. I don't have that, but I somehow have learned a lot about it. And through other teachers, they've told me what to do and where to go and how to promote myself. So hopefully that all helps. And by teachers, I mean mostly online. I don't pay for any lessons or anything. It's just YouTube, Instagram, whatever materials I can get my hands on. Google, just Google search a lot of things if you don't know how to do it. But yeah, if you do the one line rule, it helps you avoid distractions for longer because you want to work on that piece of art or whatever you're working on longer. And for me, what's addicting about the art when I finish it is the finished product. It makes me feel achieved, accomplished. But obviously, the whole way through, you never get that feeling until you're done. And even then, you feel like, oh, I could have added this. It could have been better. Maybe I should have compositioned it better. It's never it's never ending when it comes to personal criticism or self-criticism on your pieces. So I'm with you if you're like that, and just know that it's not just you. Every artist feels like that. I'm one of them, so I'm proof that you're not alone. You can just point to this video if someone asks you. Well, holy cow, I've been going for 12 minutes. I think you got the point about distractions and how to avoid them, how to produce something out of basically one line, one note, one whatever you're working on, collecting one piece of metal for smithing, whatever job you do that you're a business owner of. Let me know if you want these podcasts to be longer, because typical podcasts that are successful are at least like 30 minutes, 20 minutes to an hour long. So, you know what? Maybe next Sunday I'll go about 20 minutes. We'll see where we're at, see how much people enjoy the content, or if they'll stick around for a longer period of time rather than a shorter period of time. Because 10 minutes for me is a long time to just talk into a microphone. But if there's room for growth and people want me to talk longer, I will. I'll go about 20 minutes. Let me know in the comments. Give it a like. Whatever you want to do. I'll see you guys next time. This is Moo from FP Comics, signing out.